So we're here at Tudor and we've had the incredible good fortune to be shown some of the latest releases. And where do we begin? Because we've got a real little treasure trove here to play with. So thank you to everyone at Tudor who's made these watches available. I'm going to start with this end because here we have, check out this beauty. It's in chocolate brown. Now, if you ever wanted a Datejust, but can't afford one, like me, this is the watch to have. Got brand new colours. We've got chocolate brown, we've also got salmon. I really like this watch, and it's funny. This is the sort of watch that my dad had in the 70s, and at the time I thought, well, you know, that's very uncool. But now I'm getting to that certain age where I just want one of these. I think it's absolutely fabulous. It's pretty big, it's 41 millimeters, but that's part of the whole sort of imposing grandeur of this model. I absolutely love it. I think it's really good. Moving to this way, as you see, we've got the salmon pink issues, and this is what Tudor describes as their sleeper watch, and it's now in blue. What's quite interesting is that we see a few changes across the board here in Tudor. Particularly, take a look at the handset. You've got a longer minute hand, you've got a slightly fatter snowflake, and we'll get to the Black Bays in a minute, but you'll see that the case is a little bit flatter too. There's sort of refinements all the way through it. Let's take a look at the Black Bays. Let's start with this one. This is the Black Bay 54. Now you may be asking, why is it called 54 when it's a 37 millimeter case? It's called 54 because it harks back to the very first watch that Tudor made, first dive watch that Tudor made in 1954. If you put this watch and that original watch next to each other, you wouldn't see a great deal of difference. The hands are slightly different, as I mentioned, and there's a few detail changes, but what you see here is basically a pretty faithful recreation of the original. Now, we spoke earlier on about some of the changes that have happened to the case and so forth. So if I turn this watch on its side, you'll be able to see that we've got a slimmer case. And look at the sort of like the teeth on this bezel. That's slightly more pronounced, so it's like easier to turn around and grip. And as we've said before, there's a new handset, which you can see there. Minute hand again, slightly longer. Fatter snowflake. The crown also slightly different shape. The crown is a little bit sort of like more flush, as you can see, a little bit slimmer. The whole thing has got a slimmer profile. It's just a little more compact and all the more exquisite because of that. Note the T-bar as well. This is something that people really like. Makes the watch very easy to use, so people love that. Now, Opaline. Does anyone know what Opaline is? Well, here is Opaline. So Opaline is a dial. You could describe it as a white dial, but it's actually not white exactly. It's more sort of like a white, coarse grey, that sort of thing. First time we've seen a watch like this from Tudor in Opaline. Again, you'll note the new handset. You'll note some detail changes across there. To me, this is really cool because it's just striking. I mean, if you look at all of the watches in their boxes here, this is one of the ones that jumps out at you, isn't it? Or is it? Because must admit, I'm very fond of this one too. Here we have a Black Bay, and you'll notice it's in Burgundy for the first time. Yeah, I really love that Burgundy bezel. Again, look, note the bracelet, note some of the changes that have been made here. It's a really beautiful watch. Now, Tudor have invested very heavily in recent years. We've been watching a fantastic video of their new factory, which is so big that you can literally, an Olympic cyclist can ride through it, which is one of the things that they did recently. So we're going to try and get over there because I think this is a place that has to be seen. Obviously, all this sort of like comes at a price, but Tudor is very good value compared to, let's say, other Swiss manufacturers I could mention, which make watches which maybe are slightly similar to this. The investment has come in a number of places. There's obviously an updated movement in these watches as well. I think what they're producing now are the best watches that Tudor has ever made, and these launches might be some of the most exciting ones we've seen. New things everywhere. Look at this. So this is the Black Bay, as we've mentioned before, but comes on a rubber strap for the first time, and looks rather good, doesn't it? So that's the news from Tudor. I hope you enjoyed looking at the watches.